What is going on YouTube? This is DBZ439 coming at you with a very interesting deck profile, and that is my first place locals Gate Guardian deck profile. That's right, I took this rogue deck, Gate Guardian, and top my locals being some of the best meta decks out there, and I'm very proud and excited to showcase you what I have to offer for this deck. I've been playtesting this deck like crazy, and you know, I think my build, there's going to be a lot of question marks, but I do feel that is the most optimized and that it can actually go pretty well against the meta. And so without any further ado, I would like to start off with the main deck. But before going to the main deck, I'll just say my matchups real fast. First round I did play against Rikka, Sun Avalon. I 2-0'd them. Next round I played against Swordsoul. That was another 2-0. And third round, I played against Kashtira. That was a 2-1 match. And then finally, I did play Naturia, Runick, and that was 2-0. So I only lost one duel the entire day. And I did play against the two best decks. I did play against Despia, but yeah, those were my matchups. And yeah, let's go on with the deck. And let's go on with the pieces. So I do play only one of each piece. Yes, to answer your question, this is a semi-brick. Not entirely a brick, but a semi-brick. What I mean by that is because you can use a piece from your hand to make the combine. So it's not totally dead. And also you can use it for discard fodder, and then we'll get into that in a sec. But I only play 3. You don't want to play too many copies of this card because we do play some other bricks that you're about to see. And so just trying to maximize efficiency. Especially in a 40-card deck. We do play the Fusion Destiny package, that's right. So I was playing 2 Kazejin because I felt that it was the most important piece from the 3. But I realized that playing the Destiny Hero package is very good in this particular build. Because Enforcer does a lot for the deck, you know. Being able to pop, being able to play around some of the things I play, and giving the draw to, and then the dasher being able to special summon on the draw. So it offers a lot. This deck really does struggle with generating advantage, and Enforcer helps you, break boards, go for game, draw cards and whatnot. It's just such a good package. Yeah, you guys are going to see like these 5 cards are bricks, and you are bound to see some of these cards in your hand. Like in the tournament, like I actually normal summoned this card against the Naturia matchup, and then I had to swing, burn him, and destroy his Runick Fountain. So this actually came up, as a normal summon. But at that point, the game state was already in my favor, but still. A lot you can do with that. Next, we play triple Shadow Ghoul of the Labyrinth. Now, before I forget, I just want to say towards the end of the video, I'm going to try to discuss other cards that I didn't play, why I didn't play them, and like other engines as well. So I just want to put a disclaimer there. But here, Shadow Ghoul, this card is absolutely amazing. Basically, discard, search Labyrinth Wall. Cool. Next, if this card's in your graveyard, if your opponent battles, right, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy that monster. That doesn't even mean that they have to battle with the monster you control. You could, if they attack you directly, you can use this, destroy that card. They never read this card. That's one thing that this deck has, is that people don't know any idea what this deck does, and so you can cheese them with effects like that, and people underestimate that. And this goes really well in tandem with another card I'm going to show later on the deck profile, which ultimately makes the deck why I consider somewhat meta relevant. So next we do play triple Labyrinth Heavy Tank. This card's absolutely amazing. In fact, it's so good, I actually opted to cut the entire hero package engine. And Heavy Tank, what it does is, I can normal summon it without tributing, but if I do, he can't attack that turn. And then basically I can place a piece from my hand or deck or in the banish zone, face to my side of the field. And then if I control the field spell, I can destroy one monster my opponent controls and doesn't even target. So this card is very good. Obviously, it's a big body. It plays very well under skill drain because I can attack on the turn and summon, so it's huge. And then I can place pieces. I can use it for, link material, XYZ material, and I can, going second, I can pop monsters. It doesn't even target, so really good. Next, we do play the only hand trap in my deck I play, in the main deck at least, is Ash Blossom. Just because of the versatility, it's so generic. I didn't want to play too many hand traps in the main deck because I feel that a lot of decks these days, they can play through hand traps, and I'd rather just shut off my opponents with like Floodgates that can go first and second. This is primarily for Despia. Branded Future is such a powerful card. You need to be able to hit it, and so Ash Blossom does that. I mean, the fact that I can hit a lot of decks, so it's the only hand trap I play in the main deck, but you'll see in the side deck, I have some interesting things. Next we play triple Labyrinth Wall Shadow. This card's a Floodgate. So I'm just going to read it. So monsters can't attack the turn they are summoned except monsters whose original level is 5 or higher. So what that means is if my opponent tries to Zeus me, try to, go into XYZ play, try to attack me, go into a Link play, try to attack me, they cannot attack. Even monsters that are like level 4 or lower, that can't attack. So like it's really good against like trap tricks. And also, I can place a piece, from my Banish Zone hand or deck. And also I can destroy one monster. I can target one monster my opponent controls during the start of the opponent's battle phase and destroy monsters 1600 or less attack. That comes up a lot. Like there's like that Kashtira Scareclaw monster. It has like low attack, Trap Trick Sierra. There's so many cards you can pop with this card. It's insane. So it's a Floodgate. It searches stuff. It goes well with the Shadow Ghoul. The card is not a harmless for stuff. So if I activate another copy, I can place another piece. That's really good. Next, we play triple double Wind and Thunder. So this is the only Gate Guardian like spell trap card I play. I don't play the Gumo card or the Ryoku. I think those cards are very cheesy. This card does so much better. You just target a card on the field, destroy it, and then during the main phase, I can banish this card to search a piece and add it to my hand. So it's a pop and a Rhoda. So that's very good because sometimes I tend to play cards in my side deck like Cosmic Cyclone to get rid of cards like Runick Fountain. Those cards are very annoying. There's problematic Floodgates. I did face a couple of Ancient Organism. That card kind of hurts you. But it's funny enough, you can use Labyrinth Heavy Tank to bypass that. You just normal summon it and just start attacking. And then once you draw this, you can pop it. So it's really good. I played 3 of that. Next, I played triple Super Poly. This was a very interesting choice. I think Super Poly is actually pretty good this format because of how diverse it is. So you can hit a lot of decks. You have a lot of space in your extra deck. There are a lot of cards that you can play in the extra deck. If you don't want to play the Super Poly, that's fine. Cards like, BLS Link Monster, more XYZ 7s, maybe even if you can play other things. But Super Poly, one of the reasons why I want to play is because you're locked into fusions if you play cards like Fusion Deployment. I needed a card that can help me go first or second, that can't respond, and the versatility of this card is very good. It won me a lot of games, so I do feel that Super Poly is actually pretty good. You can use this to discard Wind of Thunder to search a piece, or you can send a piece from your hand to the graveyard. That's what I was alluding to earlier, and you can use that piece in the graveyard, banish it for combined. So it's a really good card in my opinion. Then we play the Fusion Destiny. Obviously, we play that Fusion Destiny package. We max out, play 3 of it. You just go your combo, draw Fusion Destiny, and you're good to go. Another thing I like about my deck is that I can play around a lot of hand traps. Like, a lot of hand traps don't affect me. Like, I saw people drawing me all day, and like I've already completed my search afterwards, and I can just use cards like Fusion Destiny or Field Spell or Labyrinth Heavy Tank to place cards. Like, I don't even need to add afterwards once I use like cards like Prosperity. There's just so many cards I can just play around, like Imperm Veiler, anything that targets really, spell traps, all that fun stuff. That's actually one of the reasons why I opted to play this deck, because of one of the monsters in the extra deck that can play around evenly, and like control. That's what control decks suffer, right? Like, you just drop evenly, you just lose, but this deck doesn't lose to that. So that's pretty cool. Next we play Fusion Deployment. Yeah, it does lock into Fusion, but it gets you a free piece. Next we do play Triple Prosperity. Now, this is a huge question mark, because a lot of people will be like, oh, why not play the Magician Souls package? In my personal opinion, in my testing, I felt that Prosperity put in so much more work than the Magician Souls. Why? The cards that you banish from your Prosperity, you don't care, because you don't even go into all of them. You can banish, the non-Super Poly targets that are not effective in that match, your XYZs and Links and whatnot, and just leave your Fusion monsters. So the cost is like not that scary. Cutting in half damage, that's not too relevant, because at the end of the day, you're just trying to control the board and not let your opponents play. And then people don't usually tend to Ash this card because they want to see what you're playing. But then this gets you exactly what you need, right? Whereas like Souls, you have to summon it. Yeah, sure, you send the Kazejin in the grave, and then use the effect to send stuff. And then if they Veil or Ash it, then you just kind of lose advantage. You're not always going to open cards like the, Wind and Thunder. And if you do opt to play like the other bricks, in my opinion, Ryoku, Gumo, just to search some pieces, like it's just not effective. Going second with Magician Soul, same thing. Like, it's easily interrupted. So I opted just to play this. Now, a budget option would be Sacred Seven Swords. I'd play that if you can't, get your hands on Prosperity. So this put in a lot of work. Next, we do play for one Terraforming and one Triple Tactics. Obviously, to search the field spell. Triple Tactics, I had one flex spot, and this card does everything I kind of want it to do. If I need to draw, cool, draw. If I'm already open really nice, look at my opponent's hand, rip everything, rip anything, that isn't a spell trap because my Kazejin can just negate those effects. And then take control, whether it's a cash player, make Zeus or, make a Link monster afterwards, and I'll show you a nice monster I play. I think it's pretty funny. But the MVP of the entire deck, I know this main deck doesn't seem too crazy, but what really won me my duels was there can only be one and Skill Drain. So I'm just going to showcase these two at the same time because these cards are just so powerful right now. There are some matchups where, these cards aren't that relevant and you just easily side them out. But the reason why they're so good is because, you play around these cards. The only confliction is with there can only be one when you have like Enforcer combined. But Skill Drain, your Enforcer keeps coming back to life. You have big bodies. And when your bodies die, you get to float. You probably can't play the game, if they try to evenly match you, besides Skill Drain, they'll try to evenly match you first. You use a Kazejin to negate, and then if they try to use monster effects, you just flip Skill Drain, and you just kind of win from there. There can only be one is just so good. You play around, like, everything's like different type, except for the Enforcer, like I said, but these cards are actually amazing going second because they can break boards. You flip there can only be one, okay, cool, negate, and then you just chain Skill Drain, and they're locked. Then you play the field spell, and they can't attack and whatnot, and you can pop stuff. So there's a lot of fun niche things you can do with this deck. Play around so many things and floodgates and hand traps, and just taking complete control of the game and just not letting your opponent play. It's just very similar to Labyrinth and how they play. It's funny because I played the field spell. It's called Labyrinth, but yeah, I kind of just emulated some of the card choices they played and why they're so successful. Try to, incorporate that in this strategy, and it works very fine. Next, we play for our side deck here. We do play Triple Nibiru for, decks that go hard, especially Cash, if they're zone lock you. I try to play the most high-impact cards in my side to give me the best chance, especially going second. So Nib, and then I play Shifter. Oh my god, this card put in so much work. This card's absolutely insane. You can play around this card. This card doesn't hurt you at all. You can even use Fusion Destiny under Shifter. Sure, your materials get banished, who cares? You summon Enforcer and it just puts in work. This is a turn skip. This card does not hurt you at all because your pieces get banished fine. You just use Labyrinth Tank or Field Spell to bring it back. So Shifter puts in a lot of work. I was so close to main decking this card, but I just opted for the Ash because this card, if I go Enforcer first, then I drop Shifter, then I'm not maximizing it because if I pop the Enforcer, then it gets banished. So that's the only reason why I put in this going second. Next, I play Spooky Dogwood for the very grindy matchups. It puts a lot of pressure on the opponent, and I needed to play something high impact that was very versatile, and I think Spooky Dogwood does that. Next, I play Triple Solemn Judgment for the protection. Of course, if they try to break your board by any means, just Solemn Judgment. Finally, play Triple Evenly Match, for obvious reasons. Just break the board for free and just continue on plowing through. So that is the side deck there, and moving forward with the extra deck, I'll try to go quickly here. We do play a Double Combine. This card's absolutely crazy, okay? This card says if your opponent tries to target something on your side of the field, you can negate that effect and destroy it. And I can use it up to 3 times per turn, and it doesn't have to be in the same chain. So that's very important. So if you're playing against Runick matchups, they'll try to target your stuff, then boom, you just negate all 3. They just burn all 3 cards for no reason. Next thing, if this card dies by any means, if this leaves by opponent's card, so very similar to Mirror Jade, I can summon a free fusion monster from my action deck. So, like, going against the Despia Prayer, break their board, and, you know, Ice Shade effect, cool, send this to the grave, and then summon the next card right here, Wind and Water. And this card just absolutely destroys Despia, because, you know, this card negates the effect very similar to Ash. So even if they Brandon lost, like, you don't care, you just Brandon Fusion, negate for free. This card's also amazing under Skill Drain. But this is the reason why I played the deck. The only reason why I played this is because I felt that this card was insane. Like, the fact that I could protect my board, you know, under Evenly or Lightning Storm, and then, you know, and then I just flip Skill Drain or There Can Be One afterward. It just puts so much pressure on my opponent. Like, they have to win through monsters, and then, like, you know, if I'm floodgating them or destroying stuff with Shadow Ghoul or just running over stuff, Enforcer Pressure, like, the deck is actually really good. Like, the one thing I was struggling with was, like, going second, but the deck, like, you'll see the way I built it, like, I can play going second, especially with the help of my side deck. Next, for the rest of the fusions, I played the one Suijin one, and then the one Sanga one. This one searches a spell, even the field spell, so it's really good. Gets rid of, you know, problematic cards. And then this is actually, like, underrated. Like, under Skill Drain, once, you know, the big guy dies, you can summon him. He's the biggest one. And then this one can help you go for game, because you can target stuff up to twice per turn, I believe, and make their attack 0. So it can help you go for game. So that came up quite a bit. So this card is actually pretty good. I thought this was not good, but it put in work. Next, all the super poly targets. This was amazing that we play. So I'm just going to breeze through this. This was also very generic and very good. And then also Muddragon as well. Obviously, the Enforcer for the Fusion Destiny play. Then we play the spicy card, Ferocious Flame Swordsman. This is just such a funny card. I was just trying to see what a generic Link 2 monster I can make. You know, if I use tactics to take something, I just need to get rid of it. I can summon this card, so 2 monsters with different names, so it's pretty easy to summon. All warrior monsters gain 500 attack, so Enforcer combined as a warrior monster. And then if this card would be destroyed by battle or a card effect, I can target one non-Link warrior monster in my graveyard, special summon it. But Banishment leaves the field, so I can bring back Enforcer, I can bring back Combine, and if Combine dies, then I can summon another piece. And then for my XYZs, I do play the one Big Eye, the one Sky Thunder, you know, to take control of, you know, any of the Kashtira XYZ monsters and whatnot, to slap it over. The Big Eye, you know, this is a very good generic level 7 XYZ monster. So, yeah. I know I did say that I was going to cover some stuff. I know this is a very long video right now, but I do enjoy playing this deck. Like, when I was a kid, like, you know, Gate Guardian was such a cool archetype, and, you know, it was never playable, but now it is, you know, and people, you know, wrote it off thinking it's not good, and I tried to theorize so many different ways to make it work, and the build that I came up with, you know, I feel that it actually, like, you know, is very meta relevant to a degree. You know, it makes a lot of the meta decks, you know, rethink, like, how to play around this deck, because this deck does play around, you know, things that target, you know, in Runics and, you know, Kashtira, the Arise hard targets and stuff, and you just make this guy, people can't get over it, you know. It's just actually really funny, and the Kazejin fusion monster is very good. So other engines that, you know, I considered playing and I play tested that wasn't really working effective for me include the Hero Package. The Hero lives. It burns you, and, like, you know, going in the grind game, those cards become dead. The Eldritch, I felt Eldritch was a little too slow. The Magician's Souls, like I explained earlier, is very vulnerable and doesn't really, you know, it does, like, Prosperity gets me what I need, whereas, like, Magician's Souls is a little bit of a gamble. So yeah, that's all the engines I can think of so far that I play tested with. I think Brandon was another one, but I just felt like, I think a more control build, you know, playing with hand traps and floodgates was just so much more impactful and won me so many games easily. So yeah, I recommend picking up this deck. It's very budget, it's very fun, and you'll see that, you know, in testing that it works pretty well. So if you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to comment below. I look at all my comments and try to respond to the best of my ability. Please like and subscribe, and have a nice day.